right now. Listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it. It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody here. Everybody here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes past the top of the hour. It's 4:07 on a Tuesday afternoon. I hope you're enjoying your afternoon out gallivanting about after a long day of work. Maybe you're headed home, or maybe you're running to and from the malls. You know, I'll be honest. This is Chris Roloff here for Mac's World Live. I love this time of the year, though. I love the commercialism of Christmas. Did you know that?
No. Why?
I love shopping. I love crowded malls. I love seeing the trains, Santa stuff. I just love all the hustle and the bustle. I love all the stuff that we're supposed to hate about Christmas. As you know, Christians are supposed to pretend like it's not about the gift giving. It's not about the gift receiving.
So you want me to pray for you about that?
No, I actually want you to think properly about the holiday season and recognize that it really is all about gifts. No, I mean,
the more
seriously.
for me, the better.
Well, think about this, though. You think I'm making this up here. But, you know, one of the things that we seem to get so wrong as Christians during this time of the year is that this time of the year is 100% about gift giving. What are we celebrating?
God gave us a gift.
God gave us the greatest gift that's ever been given. And so if I buy you whatever toy or thing that you want, it's nothing in comparison to what God gave us.
Good point.
And so we don't look at it and go, oh, wow, this is so great. It's a reminder of the incredible gift that God has given to us. And for some reason, Christians in this country have decided that gift giving is just this thing that we should look down upon.
Good point.
You know,
Chris.
and if somebody came to you, Tom, and gave you the thing that you wanted for Christmas, would you say, oh, I don't need that? Oh, of course not. You'd be appreciative. You know, God gave us a gift, the gift of his son. When we give him our gifts back, does he respond that way? Oh, I don't need that. I'm the God of the heavens and the earth. I don't need anything. I've got all that I need. I just love it. So buy the people in your family something really cool. Get excited about it. Give it to them and tell them that you love them. And show it to them with gifts.
Well, the problem is the gifts we give each other are the gifts we really don't need, and the ones we need we don't give each other.
See, and that really is the heart of it. Is gift giving, especially this time of the year, stops being about the person we're giving the gift to. You know, God gave us his son because that was the gift that we needed. We needed Jesus Christ. We needed a savior. That's why he gave us that gift. Some people in my world, I don't know what you guys think about this, have gotten into the giving on behalf, right? I'm going to give to the Save the Children Foundation on behalf of you, Bob. Instead of giving you the thing that you want, I'm going to give to this charitable organization over here. Doesn't that make you feel good?
Uh-huh.
Don't you feel special about that?
No.
No, you don't. So here's what's really funny about that. That's another example of what Frank's talking about. If we give people the thing that I got, the piece of junk that's laying in my garage, I don't want anyway, and I take that out of my garage and I give it to you, you don't really care. That's not really a gift. What if instead, if you want to give charitably, that's fine. But instead, let me put a little thought in your head. Think about this. Maybe if you want to give charitably on the behalf of someone else you know, maybe instead you should ask them what ministry they're excited about. Bob, what's a ministry that you're really passionate about?
Well, I like the Hope Ministries and, local ones here.
Yeah. So what if I gave to Hope Ministries on your behalf? Would you feel better about that?
Would I feel better about that?
Than if I gave to some charity you don't care about?
I think you would probably feel better than I would feel better.
Sure. But like if you're really passionate about it.
Sure, I'd feel good for that. Sure.
Right, because you care about it, right?
Yeah.
That's a gift that is for you. It's not a gift for me.
Well, let me suggest more in line what I'm talking about here, and it would be the idea.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to disagree with
no.
you, Frank. I apologize.
Well,
Forgive
no,
me, please.
I'm in on your point, but what I'm saying is a lot of times moms and dads will give their kids stuff when what their kids really want is their attention and their time. So the gift that's more valuable to me to give to someone you love is your time, your energy, as opposed to materialistic things. Now, sometimes we need materialistic things. So if I need a pair of socks, don't go in debt on Christmas to buy them for me. Give me that pair of socks on the 4th of July. You don't have to save it till Christmas and call it a Christmas gift. If I need something, get it for me on the 4th of July. And I would simply suggest that what our families need more of is our time, our energies, they want our attention. And that's more valuable to them a lot of times.
So what I should do next time, like my son has a flat tire and I go and repair his tire, go out there and take care of him, no matter what time of the year it is, I should just say, Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
Just carry around a notepad, keep a tally mark. So you have all your Christmas gifts in line every year.
That's how you get dad and son to really bond, is when dad on Christmas hands the son the list of all the things that dad did for you during the year. Merry Christmas, kid.
All them horses I watered all year long, all that grass I cut all year long, there's your present.
So
right,
when
I learned
Christmas
a lot.
rolls around, you don't have to give any gifts.
Exactly.
You can just love them like
Chris,
you're
what
supposed
a
to.
great idea. Right, Jeb. Chris, great idea. Every time I do something really good for my kids or family, I will say Merry Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. I like it very much. I like it very, very much. Hey, Tom, go ahead and put your headphones on. We have a special guest the second hour as well. Of course, this is Max World Live. Jeb is producing. Frank, of course, is here. Bob, of course, is here. Tom Coates is with us as well. And for a little while anyway, Pastor Michael Mudliff. He's my pastor, and I talk to him regularly, and I don't know how to say his name. Pastor Michael Mudloff of Westkirk Presbyterian Church is on the phone. Pastor Michael, how are you?
I'm just fine. I haven't called Mudluff before. It's all good.
The truth is, I just call you Muddy. And so
I've been called that too.
Yeah.
Muddy Waters, Mud Flap. Yeah, lots of different things.
Mud flaps.
Some of them a lot worse.
Well, don't say the worst ones on the radio. It's not nice.
Sounds to me like Bob's got his Christmas shopping done.
All done.
I guess that's what we decided. Michael, this started, I was saying that Christmas is really all about the gifts. And as Christians, we seem to beat up on each other and say, well, it's not all about the gifts, it's about something else. But I really think it is all about the gifts, because we've been given the greatest gift ever in Jesus. And so we give gifts as a reminder of the great gift that we've been given. So I love the materialism of Christmas, but that's not the real reason for your call today. You texted me in the middle of our first hour because I guess, Pastor Michael, you were listening?
I was listening in the car on my way from Governor Branstad's office.
Right.
And I was hearing the conversation you were having, and and thought it was kind of interesting that I had just returned from his office with a small group of pastors that were part of the Family Leader Ambassador team, the groups of pastors that meet over at the Capitol during the spring. And this is organized by Greg Baker and the team over at the Family Leader. And we go pretty regularly to the Capitol building and meet with legislators, mostly to honor them, to pray for them, to thank them for their service, and occasionally, too, to bring up some policy issues that are coming up, but primarily to thank them and give them encouragement, because they don't get a whole lot of that at the Hill. They usually get a lot of people complaining, including pastors complaining. So that's really what the ministry is about. And today we had an opportunity, a small group of us, to meet both Congressman David Young at his office this afternoon and Governor Branstad. And this was actually the first time we'd met with Governor Branstad, and he was the last of the executive branch in the Iowa State House that we were able to meet with. So we thought it was good timing, given the news that he'd been appointed by President-elect Trump to serve as ambassador to China. So we had an opportunity to gather in his office and thank him for his service to our state and express our excitement for his possible new role as the role that we think he's going to have here in the next administration, and talk a little bit about it. It was pretty exciting.
Well, and what, Pastor Michael, what was your sense from him? Is he looking forward to this? Is this something he's really excited about?
Yeah, I sensed a lot of excitement. The media has made much of the relationship that he has with the current president of China, one that goes back to the mid-1980s when they were both young and involved in a lot of agricultural work. Governor Branstad he was younger than still governor, but the president then too is a regional leader, and they developed a friendship, and I think Governor Branstad's pretty excited about it. So it was neat, and we were there primarily to present him with a Bible, the Founder's Bible that we've presented to all of the legislators at the State House, but to pray for him, and it was great. And one of the pastors was able to speak to him a little bit about the gospel, and Terry Branstad indicated that he had in fact trusted Jesus Christ alone as his Savior and Lord when he was in college through the ministry of Campus Crusade for Christ. So it was nice for us to hear a profession of faith out of our governor, especially as he finishes up his time here and then moves on to bigger ventures in Beijing.
Absolutely. It's very, very exciting to hear. Pastor Michael, we're up against a hard break. Are you going to hang out with us for a little bit more?
Sure.
Okay, great. Tom Coates is here. Frank, Bob, and Jeb and myself are here as well. Real quick before we go out, well, maybe we'll get to this when we get back. Mac brought up the question of if Branstad is actually going to then have to move to China, and I'm not clear on that one way or the other, so we'll talk about that a little bit.
That question.
All right. When we get back with Michael Mudloff here on 99.3 FM, this is Mac's World Live. We'd love to hear from you as well. Send us a text at 515-809-0993.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is the new bird. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland.
4:21 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Continue to listen to Christmas music in and out of the broadcast today on Max World Live as we're 11 days away from Christmas. Excited about that. I hope you are. This is Chris Rolla filling in for J. Michael McCoy on Max World Live. Regular cast of characters are here. Tom Coates is with us, as well as Pastor Michael Mudloff, who's on the phone with us. And within a matter of about an hour or so ago, Pastor Michael, you were in Governor Terry Branstad's office and got to visit with him and pray for him. And how was he in terms of, how did he receive just the prayers that you offered for him? How did he receive that?
I would say pretty enthusiastically. He was very happy to receive our prayers, as was Congressman Young earlier in the afternoon at his office, and it was great. We didn't have as much time as we would have liked with Governor Branstad. As you can imagine, he's pretty busy. In fact, when we walked into his office, he was signing the certifications for the Electoral College votes for the delegates here in Iowa. That was pretty important, so we thought we should let him go ahead and finish that task. But it was good. He talked about his excitement, enthusiasm about the ambassadorship in China, his relationship with the president there. We talked about the nativity that was put up in the State House yesterday, I believe, and we all had a chance to see it. That was great. And he, we, as I said earlier in the previous segment, we didn't go in intending to talk about any policy matters, but he volunteered his excitement about this upcoming session with a Republican majority in both the House and the Senate side, and the progress that he thinks can be made, especially in the life issue. So we were really encouraged, and as I said, he had an opportunity to respond to the gospel, which he indicated that he had become a born-again believer when he was in college, and remembered the date and several of the things that took place at that time. We were all encouraged by that profession of faith, and I'm not sure many of us had heard him speak boldly and with that great of recollection about some of those events at an earlier time in his life. So we were excited about it.
Well, I've got a question. This is Tom, Pastor.
Hi, Tom.
Governor Branstad has not been a new quantity to this state for a long time. He has been one of the most enthusiastic governors ever supporting the Iowa Prayer Breakfast year after year. I give you stories.
Yeah.
Did this come as a surprise to you that he was born again?
Well, no, not for me and some of the pastors that have been living in the area for a while. I remember coming to Iowa as a freshman in college in 1984 and campaigning for Governor Branstad at Cornell College when I was a freshman, and in his subsequent elections. And I think back in those days it was fairly well thought among the Christian community in the state that he was a believer. But in recent years, I think he hasn't probably spoken as boldly about his faith. He identifies as a Catholic Christian, and it was so. I think it was just a source of encouragement.
Okay, kind of a reaffirmation for you
about it.
A reaffirmation,
Yeah.
Perhaps. Okay, here is the other question I've got for you, and I think I'd be interested in your thoughts. You were not a supporter of Donald Trump. What do you think at this point when you see the cabinet picks that he's bringing in? What are your opinions on this and how he's starting his presidency off?
Well, I guess my opinion on that to begin with is that he seems to be making appointments that are consistent with the policies that he espoused during the campaign. And so I feel positive about that. I know that the Secretary of State nominee is going to be the businessman Tillerson, and that was kind of a surprise to me. I don't know a whole lot about him. I know who he is, but if somebody like Rand Paul, who came out today and says he's going to keep an open mind over the nominee, is willing to do that, then I think we probably ought to do the same, just as we would if Hillary Clinton had received, had won the election. We would probably think we ought to keep an open mind and try to, let her do what she wanted to do and react to those things and see what they would yield. And but I think my first impression is that he is nominating people that are exactly the kind of folks that fit the policy positions he espoused during the campaign, and I think that's a plus.
Would you feel better about Rex Tillerson if you realized that he was a big supporter of both the Boy Scouts and a regular attendee at church services, Bible studies weekly?
Well, yeah, probably. I guess I would. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about him. I just, he just doesn't have a lot of foreign policy experience outside of the business world. So to me, he's a little bit of an unknown quantity. But, there are a lot of people with opinions, and I need to learn a little bit more about him to see, what I think, and give him a shot.
Would you feel better if we took an inside bureaucrat inside the Beltway? I mean, this was an outsider election. He's putting people in that are outsiders, and that should be, and again, you weren't a supporter of Trump's, but it's an encouragement to me that he is not saying one thing and doing another.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. So I just don't happen to know much about Tillerson, and he's the guy who's getting most of the attention right now.
Well, you mentioned Rand Paul, and Rand Paul had come out and basically said that he would, I don't know if he implicitly threatened a filibuster of John Bolton and some people like Rudy Giuliani. Do you have some indication that Rand Paul is more favorable towards Rex Tillerson?
I don't. I just saw a Fox News report earlier today. They interviewed him, and he indicated he was going to keep an open mind over the Tillerson pick. And I think that, for all the Republicans in the Senate, that's probably what they need to do with all of the picks at this point.
I would agree.
Well, I don't have much else to ask you, Pastor Michael. You got anything you want to talk about, or are we going to hang up on you now?
Well, I guess you can hang up on me. I was just listening, like I said, in the previous hour, and you were talking about Governor Branstad and his appointment, and you'd asked Chris before we finished the last segment about the living arrangements. There is an ambassador's residence in Beijing. The governor indicated there was a guest house there. In fact, he invited us to all come. So we all decided we would schedule our next prayer meeting with Governor Branstad in Beijing.
Well, now that sounds nice. Now, I think you might need somebody to carry your bags, right? I can do that.
Well, we were hoping that somebody at the Family Leader might find a corporate sponsor to really carry our bags and buy the plane tickets.
There you go, and we could broadcast live. I mean, Max World's going to be live from Israel. Why not live from Beijing?
Dueling broadcasts.
Absolutely.
You really think Bob Vanderplaat's going to be invited over as a guest to Branstad's?
No. But this again was the ambassador wing of the Family Leader organization. So I'm a part of the group that goes to the Capitol in the springtime, mostly, as I said, to pray for our leaders, to thank them for their service, to encourage them, especially for their good work, the things that they're doing that's consistent with our biblical worldview. So it's a wonderful ministry, and it's yielding some good fruit because we're building relationships with these folks, and many of them have invited us to continue to come back and to pray for them regularly. In fact, we have a great relationship with Lieutenant Governor Reynolds, so we're kind of looking forward to that and feel like she'll be real receptive to us going forward.
Good. That's a good ministry. I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, thank you very much. You all keep up the good work over there.
Well, we'll try, sir. Thank you so much. That was Pastor Michael Mudloff, of course, pastor at Westkirk Presbyterian Church in Urbandale, Iowa. Their website is westkirk.org. For Christmas Day, they're going to be having a church service, one unified service at 10:30 a.m. there at Westkirk. And, of course, he's the host, Bible teacher of True Blue, the radio ministry heard Monday through Friday at 12 noon. Tom, are your folks there in Norwalk going to have a Christmas morning service? Do you know?
In Norwalk?
Yeah. You go to church, you worship in Norwalk, right?
Norwalk United Methodist Church. We've got a good evangelical pastor, Steve McElroy. We usually go to the Christmas Eve service as a family, and that's generally been our tradition. So, yes, Frank.
Michael mentioned something about the governor signing something to do with the electors, which brings up a concern or a question of mine that maybe you know more about than I. But Tamara Scott had, I believe, 4 of the electors on her show one day, and they had been receiving some intimidation and potentially some threats. Is an elector committed? You know, if Trump wins the 6 electoral votes of Iowa, are those 6 electors committed to vote Trump, or can they stray off the farm, so to speak, if they choose to do so?
Some of the states have it legislated that they're committed. Others, I don't think, do. I think it comes down to how the states set it up. I don't know how Iowa does it, but I am hearing that some of them have either been threatened or coerced in some fashion, carrot or the stick, to not vote for Trump. Now, again, we were talking off air that if the margins were like it was when W ran against Gore, right, or W ran against Kerry, I would be more concerned over a few people either cowering to the intimidation or being incentivized in some other fashion, bribed perhaps, to go off the reservation. This is the strategy. I mean, the irony and the hypocrisy of Barack Obama. I could give you the latest one. You know, they're every day it's some way to try to delegitimize Donald Trump's presidency. The thing today is that Trump did an interview with Fox over the weekend and said that he's a smart guy and he doesn't need to sit in on the intelligence briefings every day to hear the same thing over and over. And Barack Obama was on Comedy Central and did an interview. I saw it just today, and he made fun of Donald Trump. Well, it doesn't matter if you're smart. You know, you need to be getting in and getting this stuff. And I checked. You know how many, since he started as president over 7 years ago, he's missed 58% of the daily intelligence briefings. I'd heard and that. He sits back and he makes fun of Donald Trump for saying he doesn't need to sit in on every one. This guy was making fun and telling him to stop his whining when he was saying that perhaps the election might be rigged. And yet now who's doing the whining and saying we need to check and see if the Russians hacked, and I want the report on my desk before I leave?
Well, that brings up the point that maybe I made last hour, is the idea that Karen Finney, a activist or an advisor to the Hillary campaign, is basically out there trying to beat the drum that these electors should be privy to this information, whether they were hacked before they go and vote.
That's exactly right, Frank. And so the idea that more of them are going to change their votes and vote for Hillary in some fashion. Now, the Electoral College number, it's, 304, 306 to Hillary's got a low 200 number. I don't remember the exact numbers. But, again, the margin is too great. These are sore losers, Hillary and her people. Some of her supporters are suffering from what I think is best described as PTSD.
Delusion?
No, PTSD. Post-Trump stress disorder.
There we go.
And I've got some friends or former friends and some family members that are suffering from PTSD. It's a derangement syndrome, and they will not let it go. And don't expect after Trump gets inaugurated for it to change.
We want to hear from you. 515-244-0077.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Afternoon. This is Max World Live. Chris Roloff filling in for J. Michael McCoy. It's your voice we want to hear today as we continue to talk about politics today with your favorite co-host and mine, Tom Coates, along with Frank. We're here talking about the political stuff. This is your time to talk directly to Tom if you'd like to. You know, this isn't the first time you've heard Tom Coates on the broadcast, so you're welcome to ask him any questions. You know, we were talking in the break about loud and liberal Heather, who has become, I guess, some part of the circus that is Max World. And a
big tent. Apparently a big tent.
There's a very big tent. So if you were a loud and liberal Heather fan, you would probably not be a Tom Coates fan. So maybe there's an issue.
Hope not.
Yeah, right. So maybe there's a question that you want to ask to Frank and Tom, and we can actually talk about some substantive issues here. If you want to do that, give us a call at 515-244-0077, 515-244-0077, or you can send us a text to 515-809-0993, and we can go down the rabbit hole here with you guys. Just why don't you guys continue?
Let's go. What Bob was saying just before we came off the break. Bob, you were saying about Rex Tillerson, who, again, I want to reemphasize, man has been a big supporter of Boy Scouts. He attends weekly church service. He goes to weekly Bible study. I think the more we really hear about him, not just some of the stuff that the critics on both sides of the aisle are throwing at him, I think we will like him. But you talked about a pay cut. Talk about that, Bob. How much is he making right now?
Right now, well, this is 2015, so this was last year. His salary was $27.2 million.
$27.2 million, and I don't know what Secretary of State's pay is, but Hillary, unfortunately, couldn't get enough out of her pay, so she had to do the Clinton Foundation pay-for-play that made her some real money. So the salary isn't enough to really generate going from zero to a $200 million net worth as Hillary did. It's certainly not that. And I'll tell you, on that subject, guys, I want to point out and give kudos back to Terry Branstad. For some years, he was the president of Des Moines University. And the president of Des Moines University at that point was making over $500,000 a year plus benefits. He was not having to do that much work, and he saw the dire straits that the state was in after 4 years of most disastrous governor you can imagine, Chet Culver, a lazy individual that didn't like to get up much before noon and did not want to do any kind of diligence at all, and it was going in the wrong direction. And he stepped back out, make a fraction of what he was making, and working twice as hard.
Well, Tom, I think that kind of goes to a point that I was, we might be reading each other's minds, but I was going to make that that Trump has said he's taking no salary as president, $1, I guess, yeah. And some of these appointees that he's appointed, possibly like Rex Tillerson, have committed to take no salary either.
No salary, or again, if they do take a salary and donate to charity, it'll be a tiny fraction, like Tillerson, of what he was making. So we are not talking about people that are trying, unlike Hillary, who took the position so she could personally enrich herself. Their speaking fees doubled and tripled overnight once she became Secretary of State, that went back into the Clinton Foundation, which, by the way, guys, I want to remind you, 6% of the money donated to the Clinton Foundation was actually going to the stated purpose. It's a 501c3 tax exempt, being examined now. 6% of the money going into the Clinton Foundation goes to stated purpose. 94% goes to salaries, travel, entertainment, and lining the Clintons' pockets. What were you going to say, Bob?
I have the salary for the Secretary of State of the United States of America. Any guesses?
I'd say $250,000.
Oh, okay. $205,700.
Close.
Let me ask you a question, Tom. Do you think some of the experiences relates to some of these positions, these cabinet positions and these ambassadorial positions? There's an idea out there that you wouldn't want, you don't want a rookie flying your airplane. You don't want a rookie performing heart surgery on you. Do you think some of this experience is overhyped? That these guys are all smart individuals. They're capable of learning on the job.
All right.
They don't have to have this litany of experience and this litany behind them of stuff, because they're very capable people.
Well, let me jump from one failed presidency, Barack Hussein Obama, to a former failed presidency, Jimmy Carter, coming out of Georgia, viewed at that time as an outsider. Right. Came in and he was going to shake things up.
Right.
Unfortunately, the people that he brought in for many of these posts were small-time bureaucrats coming out of Georgia, could barely handle the load they had in Georgia, and did not know how to do things in Washington. I think we have a much different situation this time. It's going to be a little bit more analogous to Reagan, but it's going to shake things up even more than under Reagan. Now, I can see some problems, guys. I can see some problems because the debt amount that we had under Reagan is nothing like the percentage of gross domestic product that we have now. And already they're making noises that Trump's $1 trillion in infrastructure spending and his massive tax cuts to corporations, individuals, is in jeopardy, because people like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell are saying, we don't have that kind of leeway. We can't spend the money. And I'm concerned that they themselves, as inside the Beltway elitists, are going to thwart Donald Trump in ways that unfortunately may derail his policies.
I think one of the legs of Trump's plan is he is determined to get this reported up to potentially somewhere between $2 to $6 trillion that's sitting offshore into our country to be invested in our infrastructure. And I don't think that he's saying that the government's going to pay for it, but it's the idea that you get this investment back in the country, and
See, one of the ways he's got to do that, Frank, he's got to cut corporate taxes.
Right.
And
absolutely.
Mitch McConnell came out just yesterday and said he doesn't want any tax cut that's not revenue neutral. And they tend to want to go to the static model rather than the dynamic model of economic projection. The dynamic model is Reagan's supply-side economics, where you cut taxes and you incentivize growth and you generate. What happened under Reagan, guys, was that, and it happened also under John F. Kennedy, when they cut taxes, they dramatically increased the money coming into the Treasury because the growth and the activity significantly increased, and that's what Trump wants to do. But I'm afraid Mitch McConnell and some of the other Republicans are going to join arms with the Democrats and try to block some of his policies.
There's a new perk, I don't know if you've heard about it, for the President of the United States come January the 20th that Barack Obama doesn't have. And he can send out an email to everyone in the United States for a national emergency of 90 characters to everybody's cell phone that owns a cell phone in the United States. But it piggybacks on this point I want to make is I think Trump and the people are having a fit over it. The media in particular is Trump being on Twitter. And Trump is going to use this Twitter to an absolute maximum to where he is going to go over the heads of the media, go straight to the American people. And these people like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, when they start getting the blowback from the constituency that passed this, I want this done, I think Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan isn't going to have any choice but to yield.
I agree with you. And I think, again, the template is what happened under Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan went in 1980. He had to deal with the Democrat-controlled House and Senate, and he went over their heads to the American people via TV and via radio, which, given his experience here on local WHO radio, he had. I mean, and he did it masterfully, and even in spite of their vote count, he got some of his things done. Now, we've got the Republican control of the House and the Senate. I'm concerned over many of the rhinos that occupy some of those seats, but he will have opportunities that Reagan never dreamed of to go over their head with the Twitter and with the internet. I think you're exactly right, Frank, and I think they will be forced in to go along with things that right now they think they won't.
Well, this is why the media is in such a tizzy about him and his Twitter account.
Right.
Because they can't stand the fact that they can't control his
filter
Twitter.
it. And have you guys seen his popularity? Have you seen Trump's popularity since the election?
Up
Have you
like
seen it, Chris?
17%.
Is it up 17%? I have not seen it.
Dramatic.
Well, we're going to talk about that and maybe the first most Twittery president ever. We'll find out.
The only one.
We'll talk about it next on 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Go sell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go sell it on the mountain, that Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed our Savior's birth.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, and Salem Radio Network News is going to inform us on what's going on around the world. This is Max World Live and local every afternoon from 3 to 5. This is your broadcast. It's your show. We hope you enjoy it. We hope that we're entertaining every now and again, at least, if not informative. Tom Coates is co-host for us most Tuesdays. Frank is here. Bob is here. Jeb is producing, doing a great job giving us that Christmas music. We're 11 days until Christmas. Can you believe it? I hope you're having a great time shopping for those that you love. Don't be ashamed at buying a great gift for your friends, your family, your significant other, somebody. Give gifts. Great time of the year to do it.
Is it beginning to look a lot like Christmas?
Boy, howdy. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas out there. Before we went to the break, we were talking about Twitter, and I got to tell you guys, it's a little bit scary. One of the pictures that Frank painted, that the President of the United States can tweet something out, and look, Donald Trump as President-elect is incredibly prolific on Twitter. He's very concise. He does it well. He communicates in 140 characters very well. Says a lot in a very short manner of time with very few text. It concerns me a little bit, though, that he can send out this text fueled with all kinds of passion and all this and emotion and rile people up to his side against the establishment in White House, in Washington, D.C., and that's kind of what you were talking about a little bit, Frank, and that's a little scary.
The media and the establishment in D.C. is having a fit. They want somebody to take his cell phone away, take Twitter away from him, break his fingers, whatever they got to do. They don't want this Twitter to continue going on because it's not the way we traditionally do things here.
Yeah.
And Trump is blowing out the traditional norms.
Well, you look, Frank and guys, at the traditional norms. The newspaper set the tone. There were I don't remember the exact count, but it was over 50 of the major newspapers in this country that endorsed Queen Hillary.
Right.
And I think there were 2 major newspapers that endorsed Donald Trump. Now, does that give you an indication right there of the influence that they have? We also, and of course, it's no secret that newspapers are failing all over the country. They're having to consolidate. There was another story about Iowa newspapers having to. They're not doing this because they're doing so well. They're losing readership right and left. The young people don't look to newspapers for their source of news. Neither do they look as much to network news as they used to either. Yeah, some of the older people still do, but the young people don't. They get their news elsewhere. Facebook is the top one, and this is a new world, and I think you're exactly right. This is going to be the new version of Ronald Reagan. He's going to go over the top. He's already showing popularity. One thing I didn't mention was the stock market. I think many of us are aware the stock market is pushing to new highs almost every day with what they call the post-Trump rally. Now, I'm a little skeptical of how far and what that might end up being, but that's another indication of a popularity that is not sitting well with the media, the inside the Beltway people, or the people, again, suffering from PTSD, the post-Trump stress disorders.
Well, most of where the millennials are getting their news is Comedy Central. It used to be Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert.
Right.
Now it's Trevor Noah and John Oliver. These are where they're getting their news. But the newspapers are going under. They're no longer even relevant.
No.
So Twitter is the wave of the future, and Trump is absolutely utilizing it to his advantage, and they don't like it.
No, they don't. And again, they did all they could, and America, I think, is probably as well represented here in Iowa as we can. For 2 election cycles, guys, Iowans voted for Barack Obama. As much as I didn't like it, they did. And they bought into whatever he was selling. You know, he's a good salesman. We could quote Joe Biden, but we won't. He's a good salesman, and he sold them. Now, again, we turned out the vote. 69% 4 years ago turned out in that general election, and that was a high number for the country. This year, we turn out 74% of eligible Iowans to vote in this election, and almost 10% margin votes for Donald Trump. And the media and the left would have you believe that that's because there was this latent racism, some kind of prejudice that was existing inside Iowans that they were just waiting to unleash.
Well, didn't Trump turn a county in Iowa that hadn't been turned for 50 years or something? I don't remember what that county was.
How is it that they vote for Barack Obama 2 elections in a row, and now all of a sudden there are these latent racists?
Right. Well, another thing big in the news that there is a lot of traction is being trying to be made upon is the fake news aspect.
Hillary Clinton gave that some spread the other day, didn't she?
Now, we got Brian Williams, of all people.
Yes.
Who made up his own news of watching bodies float outside his motel room in New Orleans,
right,
and got caught red-handed 3 or 4 times, making himself part of the story. Yep. Making fake news. We got people like that on TV who is now criticizing fake news.
Exactly. And Hillary Clinton gives voice to this the other day. And we could go through a litany, but you mentioned Brian Williams. She told this explicit story about how she was ducking sniper fire coming off the Secretary of State's plane, and only to find out there wasn't anything. It was a nice day. She got off, gradually, and then just met people and went on. There was no sniper fire. So she lied about, of course, I don't have enough time to go through even some of her major lies before we go off the air today. But, I mean, fake news is what these people do for a living, and now that it's failed them, now they want to blame fake news on their major loss? Come on, give me a break. And again, hypocrisy on display that you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you guys brought up fake news. I watched a video clip. Did you guys see this? It was actually Denzel Washington was interviewed like on a red carpet.
Yes, saw that.
And he said this great line. He said, if you don't read the paper, you're uninformed. And if you do read, you're misinformed.
I thought that was great. Yeah.
So what do you do, right? I mean, it's a mad world. And the reality is that everybody's throwing everything back and forth. And there's got to be some truth somewhere, and we've got to seek it. We've got to engage in truth. We've got to pursue truth. We can't just read a headline. We can't just read 140 characters on Twitter. We can't just read the top of a news link and believe that that's all the information there is. We've got to do some investigating. Read different sources. Don't just read from one particular source. Tom's been good at this. Tom reads stuff he enjoys, but he also reads other stuff. You gotta get out there. You gotta be paying attention. You gotta seek truth. Don't just stick your head in the ground and believe everything that just some one person says. Be Bereans, as Christians often say. Seek things out. Seek the truth, and that's what we're here to help you do every day on 99.3 FM.